Miles underneath the surface of the internet, where Google couldn't crawl and Chrome dared not go, there was a place whispered about on Reddit threads and YouTube rabbit holes. They called it a red room. A place where horrors were not just watched, but bought, directed, and orchestrated by strangers who paid in cryptocurrency. Some thought it was fake, an edgy pasta cooked up by some sadistic mind. But those who got too close to the story, too curious, or too confident with their hacking skills, well, they just vanished. It all started with Theo Cartwright. Theo wasn't a bad guy. He wasn't even particularly reckless. But he was ambitious, dangerously so. A cybersecurity student at MIT, Theo had a fascination with systems people weren't supposed to access. He saw firewalls as personal challenges and encryption as puzzles begging to be solved. His Reddit handle, Null Spectre, was whispered in hacker forums with respect and fear. Theo had traced a phishing scam to a hidden darknet marketplace. He'd brought down an illegal carding ring with a few lines of code and a well-placed Trojan. But nothing prepared him for the Red Room. It began with a rumor. A late-night post in a closed invite-only forum called Vantablack. The post's title: Live Feed, Red Room. Proof: 15 BTC to enter. It had a screenshot, grainy, but unmistakable. A man in a chair, eyes duct-taped shut, breathing heavily. A timer ticking down in red beneath the stream window. Theo's hands tingled. He didn't have 15 Bitcoin, but he had something better: access. Using a combination of social engineering, proxy rerouting, and exploiting an unpatched Tor vulnerability he discovered, Theo bypassed the paywall. What he saw shook him to the core. It wasn't just a livestream. It was an interface. On the right side of the window were chat messages flying at an unreadable pace. Slice his cheek. Hold the blade at his throat and wait. Let him scream for a while. More pain. Make it last. Below the chat was a bidding system. Cryptocurrency amounts were offered, and whoever bid the most got control for 60 seconds. A new command would then be carried out by the masked man on screen, who Theo assumed was the handler. The victim, a young man, stripped to his boxers, trembling and crying, was tied to a chair bolted to a concrete floor. A red bulb swung overhead, the only source of light. The camera was high quality. Too high. This wasn't some grainy potato feed. This was 4K horror. The mic was so clear you could hear the hitch in the victim's breath when the blade touched his skin. Theo tried to back out. He slammed his laptop shut and yanked the power cord from the wall. But the screen didn't turn off. The stream kept playing. For a split second, Theo saw something that made his blood turn to ice. The masked handler raised his hand and pointed, not at the victim, but directly at the camera. No, not the camera, the viewer. At Theo. The screen went black. Theo gasped and flung the laptop across the room. It hit the wall with a crunch, plastic shattering. The next morning, Theo told his roommate Jason about what happened. "You're joking," Jason said, but he looked shaken. "That sounds like some Candle Cove creepypasta bull. Maybe your rig's compromised. You've been on a lot of shady forums lately." Theo didn't sleep that night. Every shadow in his apartment felt like it was watching. When he finally drifted off at dawn, he dreamed of red lights and screaming. The image of that duct-taped man burned into his skull. But the worst was still to come. 3 days later, Theo woke to a message on his phone. No caller ID, just a short text. "You watched. Now you participate." His blood ran cold. He reset his phone, changed all his passwords, wiped his drives, and disconnected from every network. But the messages didn't stop. They started appearing on mirrors in condensation. On his apartment wall, drawn in something red and sticky. "You watched. Now you participate." Jason vanished on the 4th day. No signs of forced entry. No clues. Theo went to the police, but the moment he mentioned Red Room, their expressions turned blank. One officer quietly pulled him aside and whispered, "Don't talk about that. Just leave town. Burn everything. Don't ask questions." So Theo ran. He used burner phones, cash, and fake IDs. He moved from city to city, Denver, Minneapolis, Topeka, Salt Lake. Every time he thought he was safe, he'd receive another sign. Sometimes a USB stick slid under his motel door. Sometimes a voice on a hotel lobby phone, whispering commands like a game master. The messages changed tone. You've been selected. We know you. We know your mother's name. We know what you smell like. Then, one day, he stopped running. He decided to fight back. Using a library computer in Albuquerque, Theo accessed old contacts. People he trusted from the White Hat hacking scene. Together, they built a custom botnet to trace the signal of the Red Room stream. They got close enough to locate a series of relays bouncing off obscure international servers. But right as they were about to triangulate the origin, all their screens went black. Every one of his contacts went dark. Theo returned to his motel that night and found the door ajar. On the bed was a manila envelope. Inside was a photo. Jason, naked, eyes duct-taped, sitting in that same chair. On the back of the photo, in red ink, "Your turn." Theo tried to leave the motel, but a van was already waiting outside. He woke up in a basement, wrists zip-tied to a metal chair. The concrete floor was cold. A red light swayed overhead. A camera lens stared from the wall across from him. A speaker crackled. "Welcome to the Red Room, Null Spectre." He screamed, fought, begged, but it didn't matter. Then the screen lit up in front of him. The interface. The chat. Hundreds of viewers were watching. The first command came in from a user called Killjoy88. "Break his finger." Slowly. And it began. Theo felt his knuckle pop, pain erupting like fireworks. Blood trickled down his hand. He couldn't move, couldn't stop it. This was what made the Red Room so terrifying. Not the gore, not the spectacle, it was the control. That strangers across the world, sitting in their bedrooms and basements, could turn you into their puppet. Could buy your screams like candy. Could make you bleed for their entertainment. Theo lasted 2 days. The last stream ended abruptly. Viewers said the feed glitched, the camera fell, and there were screams. One claimed Theo managed to get free. Another said the handler lost control. But the truth, no one knows. Some say the Red Room still streams, hidden under new URLs, on servers in countries that don't exist. The entry fee keeps rising. The shows keep getting worse. Now, rumors whisper that they don't just stream, they recruit. If you get an email with a red circle and a timer, don't open it. If your webcam light flickers for no reason, disconnect your machine. If you hear someone whisper your name through your speakers when no one's around, run. Because the Red Room isn't a story. It's a mirror, and it's waiting.